That's all right. Well, we're live on YouTube and live on Zoom. So, Mary, I'm just putting you on mute. Excuse me. So lovely to see everybody. We've got 2 people on this computer and a few people on this computer. Welcome. And I can see people still logging on. So I'll just say hello properly and allow everybody to settle. I want to introduce tonight's subject. It builds on last week's teaching. So because not everybody, because we're a drop-in group, some people haven't been on that meeting last week. So I'll do a little bit of repeating as well. The topic today is multiple modalities, or exploring multiple modalities. And if you were here last week, one of the things you'll remember is that I was proposing that one way of thinking about mindfulness is to think about it as a modality change, and that there are multiple modalities. So the most common modality we all know and work with is thinking, the thinking modality. And then the other main modality that is referenced is the body modality, so we talk about mind, body. And then, of course, we break the body into multiple parts. And we then talk about all the modalities that are available to us through the body or through other parts of our psychology, such as I'm going to suggest that the modality of joy is maybe a heart modality, or the modality of equanimity might stem from mind, body, and spirit. So we have all sorts of modalities which can be nurtured and helped through the study of mindfulness. And tonight I'm going to work with you to explore 3 different modalities. They are the modality of non-fixing, the modality of growth, and the modality of emergence. And what we're going to do is, so we're going to do a little bit of theory for each one. We're then going to do a translation of that theory into your practice, and then we're going to think about how that translates into your everyday life. So we've got 9 little chunks to get through tonight, so it's just tiny little steps, and hopefully this helps to make sense when you're working in the classic mindfulness mode, which is eyes shut and just sitting in stillness. But we want to move these modalities into the normal, everyday, mundane parts of our lives. So as we're in relationship, as we're shopping, as we're driving, as we're arguing, whatever we're doing, we want to be able to make that translation of mindfulness through. And I've just seen that somebody is texting me, so I'm putting my phone on mute. So let's crack on. Lovely to see other people joining. Thank you. We'll just start with the modality of non-fixing because it's a simple one. It's easy to make these connections across, and it's talked about a lot in the work, for example, of Jon Kabat-Zinn. It has some very deep lineage. It comes up in the ancient writings of Buddhism, for example, but it also shows up in classical Greek philosophy. So non-fixing has a very venerable tradition. And it's so difficult for most of us to get our thinking mind around this idea of non-fixing because in the Western world, most of us are busy fixing. We see something, we fix it. And I just want to invite you to think for a moment of a time when you were able to sit with, maybe that's not in the classic mindfulness eyes shut form of sitting with, but can you remember a time when there was some sort of hurly-burly? That might be the hurly-burly of a wedding. That might be the hurly-burly of an argument. It might be the hurly-burly of things like moving house or changing jobs, or it just might be some little thing like the hurly-burly of, for example, yesterday I lost my phone. you know, so can you remember a time when you were amidst all the hurly-burly and you were able to sit with it? That is, that you were l- able to let go of and lose your reactivity, that you were able to be interested in what's happening. So you're not leaving the room, you're not leaving a relationship, you're not absenting yourself from the hurly-burly. So you're able to sit with and you're able to be interested in, but there's no sense of reactivity. Just spend a minute thinking about a time when that was possible for you. And as you're recalling, if you are able to recall something in your life when that's been possible, I wonder what the quality of non-fixing feels like in your body. I wonder what's the essence of non-fixing inside of you. And it doesn't matter if you found words to put to that feeling, or whether the whole thing that I've just been talking about is completely elusive to you. We're now going to actually do a classic formal practice, and we'll see if we can just investigate this idea of non-fixing. So if you'd like, put your feet on the floor, your bum on the seat, and your spine upright with your head balanced on your shoulders. So ears are aligned to the shoulders, shoulders are aligned to the hips. Shut the eyes if you'd like to, but most importantly, allow the belly to relax. If you naturally feel the need to breathe a bit deeper, please do so. But if you can not control your breath, that's usually better. And move your mind in and down. So move your mind inside of yourself and down into the belly. And just allow the mind to settle. In this early stage of the practice, we keep our focus a bit narrow, a bit concentrated, not too concentrated. We don't want to overexert ourselves, but just to allow our mind to calm and settle. Keep our mind narrow and concentrated. And when you're ready, just begin to open your awareness now and turn your attention to sound. Just allow sounds to enter your ears and whatever you are able to get in touch with through your hearing, just allow it to be a sound symphony. So you're combining all the sounds that you're able to discern into one single unit, the unit of sound. So by putting all the sound into one single unit, we're able to listen in a way that transcends liking and disliking. Everything is the same unit of sound. You may have noise that is close or far away. You might have noise or sound that is high or low, constant or pulsing. All we're interested in is the quality of the sound, not whether we're liking it or not liking it. So by considering all sound as one unit, we're reducing our reactivity to sound. And that lack of reactivity helps us to explore this idea of not fixing, non-fixing. So I don't have to fix the sound. I don't have to do anything. I'm still engaged and involved in the sound, but I've let go of my reactivity because I'm not liking it or disliking it. A sound is a sound. That car going past is just as valuable to me as the singing of the birds. The singing of the birds is just as valuable to me as the tinkling of the chimes in the trees. The tinkling of the chimes in the trees is just as valuable to me as the chatter of the family in the room next door. No need to fix, no need to change, no need to react. And when you're ready, take 1 or 2 slightly deeper breaths. And in your own time, transition back to the group and eyes open. So the modality of non-fixing is beautifully illustrated by this experiment with sound, where we can flatten it and appreciate it all and make it all of equal value. And that's the exploration in the mindfulness practice. So I'd like to move to the second modality for this evening, which is this idea of growth. This doesn't get talked about in the literature in the same way or to the same extent, but I think it's one of the most helpful when it comes to integrating into our everyday life. So my imagery for this, and many of you might have heard this, is that a growth modality is very much like children. Children, as they learn and they grow and they develop, they are wildly experimental, and they're wildly unencumbered by any ideas of success or failure. Some things may be fun or less fun, but they're not judging whether they're succeeding. And an example of this is a baby learning to crawl, and then the baby is compelled to stand up and try to walk. Baby falls over, maybe cries a little just with the shock of falling over. But the baby never says, "Oh, I'm a failure." The baby never says, "Oh, I'm never going to learn to walk." The baby eventually, pulls itself up on another piece of furniture and tries again, and falls over again, and tries again, and falls over again. So this idea that we can be, I suppose the beginner's mind is the classic phrase that we use, always exploring, always experimenting, never taking, never believing this mind of ours which says, "Oh, I've done this before. I know what this is about. I know that I've never been good at painting. I've never been musical. I've never been whatever." And here we are accepting these facets of ourselves only because this thing up here is telling us. Interview a baby, it's never going to tell you it's not artistic or musical, or it's never going to say, I've got 2 left feet and I'm never going to be a dancer. A, a baby, the beginner's mind is, yeah, maybe let's find out. Let's experiment. Let's fling ourselves into something. So I want you to sit very quietly for just a moment and remind yourself of a time when you have been able to adopt this approach. You've been able to enter into something with the spirit of, let's just see. Let's find out. I have no preconception of whether I'm going to be good or bad at this. I've let go of any thought about success or failure. I can just take pleasure in the experimentation and exploration. So think of a time when that's been possible for you. And as you're thinking, explore the quality of that experience. What is it like to just explore? What is it like to enter into something without a sense of success or failure? What are the what's the essence of it? And I'm going to ask you a second question, which is what is in your life now where you could approach it with this level of playfulness, this idea of growth, where challenge is a good thing, it's welcome, it's not seen as you have to be perfect, you have to be fantastic right from the beginning. Where could you apply this to something that you're interested in right now? Okay. So we're going to explore this idea through the body because a lot of us are shaping our willingness to be in our body through this idea of success or failure. We're already, as soon as I say we're going to do something in the body, we have this instant, oh, I'm good at this, or oh, I'm not good at this, so notice how as we just do this very simple exercise, it's only 2 or 3 minutes, and if you've got any bad back or any tension in your shoulders or neck or anything that you need to be careful of, pay attention to that. You don't have to win gold medals around this. But also notice if you're pulling back because you don't want to be failing, you don't want to be vulnerable in some way. So we're just going to take our right arm and we're going to raise it up and we're going to pretend that we're picking some grapes that are up there. So please do this with me. And notice if you have immediately gone to the fullest stretch possible, or notice if you've pulled back. What I would like you to experiment with is where's maximum, where's minimum, and where is that zone of growth? Enough challenge that you feel it, but not so much that you begin to shake with the exertion. So take a moment to feel that. And then when you're ready, lower that arm and just feel into it. So close your eyes for a moment and feel into that arm. And then when you're ready, raise the left arm. And in the spirit of beginner's mind, don't assume that what you did on the right side is exactly replicable on the left. So where's too much, too high? Where's too little? And where is that area of growth and exploration? And what's it like to just dwell in that area? Not too much, not too little. There's a growth zone. And when you're ready, let that arm down slowly and put your mind into the arm and feel the effects of that little stretch. Notice what your mind's chattering about. Let's do one more. Right arm up again. And again, in the spirit of beginner's mind, you might find that it is different the second time round. Actually, in fact, it must be different the second time round. It can't be exactly the same because now you've stretched the left side, the right side will be different. So see if you can notice those differences. Not too much, not too little. Staying in the area of growth. And then lower the arm. Notice how it feels. And notice if the whirlwind of your mind is telling you about success or failure. When you're ready, left arm up again. When you're ready, left arm down. Feel into the left-hand side of the body. Feel into the right-hand side of the body, just the effects of those small movements. And notice if anything in your mind has been triggered around success or failure. And come back to eyes open. So this exploration of a growth modality, or maybe beginner's mind, is more appropriate in your past teachings. So we've been exploring that by saying that when we have a growth mindset, we've managed to let go of success or failure. We've been able to just step into an activity, exploring and with interest and curiosity, and to experience the full experience the fullness of that experience. Because we don't have success or failure in our concepts. It's just the pleasure of taking part, the pleasure of being with. And if you have something in your life that you're just getting stuck with because of this idea of success or failure, this is just a beautiful way of re-energizing and restarting things uh, with a non-striving. You're not striving to get there. You're not striving to be, the most stretched out person. You're not striving to be the fastest marathon runner. You can let all of that go and just adopt this growth mindset or beginner's mind. The third modality I want to quickly explore tonight is the modality of emergence, which is underpinning all of the mindfulness philosophy. And we're going to apply this to making a decision. When we trust in emergence, for example, we come to understand that no matter how many facts we gather, no matter how many opinions we seek, no matter how long we think about a decision, it's always possible that there is no one single precise right answer. That somehow taking a decision is emergent and must arise in some way from some place deeper. So again, I'd like you to think of a time in your life when you've been able to transcend a belief of there's a right decision, I must make it. And you've been able to let go of that and trust in emergence. You've been able to trust that somehow you will begin to understand, not through logic, not through the mind, but through this modality of emergence. You may not have had that language, but somehow you knew that you would make a decision, and it may not be the perfect decision, but it would be the very best that you could make in the circumstances. And again, if you can remember a time when you made decisions through this process of emergence, I wonder if you can remember or call into the body the sensitivities that you had. What was it that it felt like to have that trust in emergence? And again, as you'd expect me to, I'll ask you if there's a decision that you currently face where you would like to approach it in this way. And by the way, you'll notice I'm not using the word intuition. Intuition in the psychology literature has a very bad reputation. Intuition can often be used to justify bias and prejudice. Oh, I have a deep intuition that she can't be trusted. And actually, what I'm projecting is just social stereotypes or other biases that I've picked up. The wisdom of emergence is not intuition. The wisdom of emergence is something deeper and more reliable. So we're going to practice this using our eyes closed formal practice, and I'll just guide you through. I can see we're running out of time tonight. This is typical of me to talk to big subjects in bite-sized pieces. But I just think these are so useful in the translation to our everyday that I wanted to do it. So bum on the seat, feet on the floor. Move your consciousness in and down inside of you. If taking 1 or 2 deeper breaths helps you to focus and settle, please do. And really get in touch with that sense of settling. If you have that sense inside of you of things coming to rest, things just naturally finding a place and laying down. If you are facing a decision or a dilemma right now, um, feel welcome to invite that into your awareness. Let go of any pros and cons that you've been running through your mind. Just bring the central dilemma into the practice and let that settle inside of you. So notice now that I'm not going to ask you to think of what the right answer might be. I'm going to invite you to ask a different question. So the question is, with respect to this dilemma or decision, what's most important to me? So this is a question about the quality. What is most important to me? And this is where emergence just naturally arises. And sometimes it's quiet, so don't worry if it doesn't come immediately. Sometimes these answers in emergence come a day later, 2 days later. But the fact that you're able to sit quietly with a dilemma or a decision and not stare directly at the decision, but consider what are the qualities or what quality is most important to me. Okay, and 1 or 2 deeper breaths. Come back to eyes open. If you need a stretch, please do. And I'm going to say goodbye to people who are on YouTube because our time together has come to an end. Thank you very much for joining me.